What's up, everybody? Welcome to Gaming Without Parole. My name's Brian Paul. Sitting to my left, your right, is the often pious Mike Zeller. Mike, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Pretty good.
And to my right, your left, this is Jordan Acosta, my good friend and former bandmate. How you doing?
Good. You have to bring that up.
You didn't like the band?
No, Is this part of the podcast?
I hope this.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Let's do this right now. Let's sort that shit out.
We'll do it after the podcast.
Oh man, this isn't going well.
We'll do it after the podcast.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for the bouncy chair.
Oh, yours bounces.
It's comfortable.
No, those are not.
Is
like
it
they're
just-
comfortable now, but like an hour from now, when we're wrapping this shit up,
Yeah,
you're going to be ready to die.
It's okay.
Yeah, you start looking for the hemorrhoid cream.
Yeah.
Good thing I have mine in my car.
I was going to say I have some for you.
I was hoping you did.
Like, for everyone who's never watched Gaming Without Parole before, can you tell the people at home what we do here?
Well, this is really an ultra right wing political podcast where we espouse our strong libertarian beliefs and ultra Christian conservative values. Really.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we talk about cats.
Yeah, and cats. We do talk about a lot of fucking cats, man.
That's okay.
You like cats. You're a dog person.
I'm an animal person.
You're an animal person. You're an animal yourself.
I'm an animal.
Animal. All right. Jordan, you're the guest, so you get to go first. You need to tell us what you've been playing recently.
Recently, I've been playing.
So we're not even going to go back and correct all that shit I just said.
What was that?
Whatever. It's fine. Let's just keep going.
Do we not have a strong right-wing view here?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's good.
I wish you would have elaborated on the cats a little bit, but
Yeah.
I guess we could.
Do you want to host? Because I didn't write anything down.
Yeah, I don't even... Man, we haven't planned shit for a really long time. We got to get it together.
As always, we're off to a great start.
Yeah.
Mike, I mean, you're not Mike. Jordan, what have you been playing this week?
Hey, welcome to Gaming Without Parole.
Right. My name's Brian Paul. To my left. No.
Well, this week I picked up Dying Light again. I picked it up a couple months ago, and I played it a good solid 2 hours.
Yeah.
First sit down, and I hated it.
It's tough to get into.
And I thought it started very slow, and I thought, the gameplay... At first, it didn't seem like it was up to like Xbox One standards with the great, it's open world, but if I can walk by a zombie and he kind of, how you doing, and I can just stare at him and just take my time, but after like the 5th, 6th hour, the missions got better, the gameplay got better, the perks that you can get as you get further into the game got a lot better. I'm really happy about being able to run, jump, and drop kick a zombie.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been able to run and hop over a zombie. That's the only perk I've really gotten in that regard.
Yeah, it gets a lot better. That one is fun because you can jump over one and then kick the next one once you can get the drop kick perk.
So the zombies themselves are part of your traversing abilities eventually.
That's your agility is mainly you gain experience by running away from zombies.
Nice.
But I do have a good friend that's like level 25, and he says the game is so much fun because you're unstoppable after a certain point.
Nice. Where I'm at right now, it seems almost impossible.
But another thing is, so I've been searching for a gun in the game. Mm-hmm. I think it would make it a lot easier.
Yeah.
But I guess if you shoot a gun, there's way too much noise.
Oh, yeah, they come from everywhere.
So I like that aspect that if you make too much noise, they can find you.
Yeah.
But it's been fun. And I downloaded a FIFA demo because I'm too cheap to go spend $60 on a sports game.
Yeah, I mean, sports games, I think I'd have a problem spending more than like $20 on them. Because that's how much they're going to be in like 3 months anyway.
Yeah. And the only other game that I've been playing, I played Mortal Kombat, the first Mortal Kombat for the Super Nintendo. And...
You chose the right version.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I thought I chose the right version, but the gameplay... Yeah. And the fatalities are not relevant to what I know of Mortal Kombat, which I hadn't played in a while, and I'm like, oh, cool, Yeah. So, when I'm telling someone, trying to embarrass one of my friends, and I'm like, this is what I'm going to do to you, and it doesn't do it, and I'm like, well then, I guess you got me this time.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's the 2 games that I touched this week.
Right on. Mike, please don't tell me you're still playing Bravely Default and Xenoblade.
No.
Oh, thank God.
That fucking game, man. I don't know what happened. I don't know how you fuck up a game that badly.
We're talking about Bravely Default.
Yeah, like I don't get it. It's a job system Final Fantasy basically. They've got at least 2.5 other games that nailed it. Like just Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy Tactics, even the original Final Fantasy 3 all did a good job system game. Like how
So here's the big question. Why are you in the minority? Everyone else loves this game. What is it about it that you're not loving like everyone else is?
I like how you said a minority.
Yeah. Okay.
Protect me. You're the second minority in 2 episodes, okay? We're two for 2.
True. We are a very...
Wait a minute. I'm gay.
Yeah. Look,
Fuck yourself.
There's no cultural bias here, Adam.
Go host your own podcast.
Yeah, we're a very diverse podcast here. I think it's this podcast actually that's
It brings out the best in us.
It does, but I think it's opened me up to the fact that most people don't finish games, and like
I'm definitely in the majority on that one.
Yeah,
and that if you only play the first, I don't know, maybe 10 hours, this is a really good game. It just totally falls apart at the end, because the end game, and you can beat the game at the point that I'm at now.
Okay.
It's just I'm way under leveled and I'll get the bad ending.
I'd say it's time to beat it.
Yeah, to get the good ending, you have to beat, and this is no joke, this is actually what you have to do. You have to beat every single boss in the game again 3 times in a row.
That's so old school.
That's not even old school. Like, not even fucking Mega Man does that. Like,
I mean, there's no bosses in but I have the same problem. I never finished Fallout New Vegas.
Okay.
Because I save the game kind of stupid. I save over and over. I don't do steps just in case.
Yeah.
And I ended up in the last level with the last boss, who's this crazy Indian samurai looking dude that charges at you.
Okay.
And I was way under leveled, not the right gear, not the right equipment, and I just got stuck there. And but yeah, no, I understand. I'm known for buying games and not opening them for 3 months too.
Yeah.
So
actually, someone was looking through my 3DS collection earlier today. What can I borrow? And I was like, any of them. He's like, but none of these are open. I was like, I'm not collecting them. I am, but I'm not saving them. I just haven't gotten around to playing any of them.
Yeah.
Feel free to open any of them that you want to.
I'm not a hoarder. I just accumulate a lot of things that I don't ever use.
I think I'm a video game hoarder. I think that is absolutely a truth.
Yeah. I mean, no, not at all, Brian.
Oh man.
Yeah. No, but I picked up Wolfenstein for the Xbox One probably a month and a half ago.
The New Order.
Yeah.
That I gotta say, man.
I haven't even taken it out of the case.
Give it when you get around to it, it's gonna be great.
Everyone told me it's very underrated, and a buddy of mine told me that after the Nazis win the war, it gets amazing, which is it's a very weird thought.
The first hour and a half of that game is very underwhelming, and you're like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. And then it hits this certain point where the narrative sort of takes over and fast forwards a bit, and it becomes a wildly different game very quickly. And I fell in love with it right after that moment. I was like, is this what this game's going to be? Yes, it is. Yeah. Bring it on.
Yeah. The people, I've heard a lot of good things about. I actually picked up the Xbox 360 version for pocket change the other day.
It could not have sold well.
Yeah, and I've heard good things too. And what catches my attention the most is when people that don't tend to be really into shooters, but will really a game. That's usually a good sign, I feel.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who's played it for more than a few hours and hasn't loved it.
Yeah, but Bravely Default, that game pisses me off. I put like 60 fucking hours into that game. I don't think I'm going to finish it because it's just such an unbelievable. I would say at least
you won't even finish it to get the bad ending.
I don't think I can. I think I'd need to grind.
Gotcha.
So I can either keep fighting the bosses again, or I can just keep fighting random encounters again. But either way, to finish, I think I've got at least a couple hours of level gaining to do, and I just, oh man,
time to toss it, man. Time to toss it. Life is too short.
I think so. But
I get about 4 or 5 days left in the end of it. The stress of picking what my final game will be is overwhelming.
Gamed to death. The shelves just fall over and crush you.
They're on their way.
Yeah.
So have you been playing something else?
Yeah. I've actually two things that I think are pretty interesting. So I fired up a game that I've had on the back burner forever that I've wanted to play. I just haven't ever gotten around to it. It's the Shivah or Shivah. Shit, I'm totally fucking that up. But it's that indie point and click adventure game. It's like a Jewish noir detective. You've never heard of this game? This was like such a huge indie game.
PC.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah,
I'm so out of the PC realm.
Yeah, the one great thing I remember about PC was Serious Sam. Oh
wow,
Serious Sam, the new encounter.
Yeah.
Remember, I was like 11 and picked it up at a flea market for like $3, and back then it was the only game that I could install on my computer.
That's awesome. Nice.
Yeah.
No, I think I stopped PC gaming right around the time I stopped playing Lucasfilm adventure games. So I think my last PC game was probably Loom or the second Secret of Monkey Island game. Which was
so you're missing out because now that's where all the good point and click adventure games.
I've got too many as it is, man. I've still got. I mean, with Telltale releasing their adventure games, I've got enough of that. And I need to go back and play Grim Fandango.
Oh yeah,
the HD remaster they just put out. So that should be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this game, the Shivah, it's you play as a like a bitter rabbi on kind of his last step before he goes bankrupt and loses his temple and everything. And
can I get the context right? Is this supposed to be funny or is this dark?
No,
and serious?
this is dead serious.
Right,
I mean, there are some like Jewish jokes in there, but it's not. This is definitely played straight.
Okay.
And it was a very critically acclaimed game when it came out a couple of years ago. Kind of in the same vein as like that Gone Home, just a very different kind of point and click adventure game. And I really liked it as soon as I fired it up. It definitely has that classic LucasArts Sierra feel to it. And I was having a blast, and then it was just done. It's super short, and I'm pretty sure the version that I have is the like the remastered director's cut with like extra scenes and extra dialogue and stuff.
How long are we talking? Like 3 hours?
Yeah, probably.
It's like Gone Home length.
Yeah, maybe even less than that. Yeah. But yeah, and obviously it's point and click adventure games. If you know what you're doing, you can really burn through those. But I seriously think if you know what you're doing in this game, you can finish it in, I would say, like 20 minutes, like half an hour. Wow. And understand, it's an indie game. Like it's not.
And if you know what you're doing, the point is of point and click adventure games. If you know what you're doing in any of them, you can blast through any of them in like an hour.
Yeah.
But most of your time is spent wandering around trying to experiment with different items and how they work together. Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing though. Is there's not. I almost feel there definitely are puzzles, and there's it does have that old adventure game feel, but I almost feel like it's more of a visual novel. There's only really like 6 or 7 screens in the whole game.
Wow.
There's only like less than half a dozen items to have in your inventory. There's a dialogue system that you use once.
Okay.
And there's even like sort of a combat system that again you use like 1.5 times.
I like that explanation. Sort of a combat system.
Yeah. Well, because
they use 1.5 times.
Yeah. It's not actiony, but it's a very distinctive thing. And I should say, I still really liked this game. Like, I had a blast with it. I was just kind of shocked at how quickly it was done.
Is there any replay value if you were to like really explore a little more into it?
I don't think so. I mean, I've heard that there's a couple of different endings, but I think they're all variations on how the last scene plays out. Because in the last scene, like, there's some characters that can get killed, or there's different ways that can hash out. But it's definitely a cool game. I was just shocked at how quickly it was
I wish they had a developer that would expand on games like that, like good games, like indie games. Someone would take them a little more serious, expand on them. I mean, my favorite games growing up were like the beat 'em up games. That's what I call them. Just the level, Final Fight, Final Fight Brawler, stuff like that.
I'm a big champion of those.
Yeah, and my favorite game that I own is the Famicom version of Mighty Final Fight.
Oh yeah,
which is Final Fight, but they're
the
tiny.
Guys, yeah.
But then I got my Game Informer a couple of days ago, and they're coming out with a new game. It's for PC. I forget the name, but that's how
not important.
I read the description.
It's right here. Yeah.
And it's your last day at your house before you go to college.
Okay.
You're this girl, and depending on what you do on that day, it's either you become like the CEO of a company, or you become like a bum, or it just depends. Like, it's like active play, but that's the game. Like, I read the whole description. It's like, okay, so it's my last day at my house.
Yeah.
Before I go to college, and it's just the decisions you make. So, why can't they take that energy and put it into something a little more?
Oh, I thought this was going to turn into a brawler.
No.
Like,
I know. I thought that
I was like, this sounds awesome.
No,
like,
but
your dad comes home and you kill him.
Yeah.
No, your brother comes in and you're like,
to.
Yeah, leave him alone.
No, but my point was, they take the energy and all these sources and make games like this, when they can easily take games like the ones Micah is playing, and little older school games, and at least they're bringing arcade back. Like Ori and the Black Forest, stuff like in the Blind Forest. Sorry.
Yeah. Why is it going to be black? What?
Why? Why not?
Why not? Indeed. Yeah.
Now I'm envisioning that game though, that as a brawler, and it's like time to go to college. You just kick open the front door. You're just like, fuck everyone. Just like
open the
fighting
fridge,
down the
fucking
street.
take everything.
Yeah.
I'm not doing groceries ever again.
Yeah, you're just like fighting your way to campus.
All of the health items are ramen noodle packets.
Yeah, right. and
well, it'd be a good
beer.
It'd be a good ending for that game if you kill everyone, but then you still need a ride to college, and no one can drive you. And just the game ends,
and all the cars have been beaten up.
Yeah.
Because of the mini games between each level.
You beat up everyone over 21, so there's no one to buy you alcohol.
I would figure that whole game would be I don't know, I forget if it was Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, but there's like a little side mission where they talk about this kid that killed like his family, and it transports you to this little like side game where you're just this little kid with a knife wearing a mask.
Wait,
that's not Fallout, is it?
No,
hold on.
I don't think so.
No, hold on.
It's like, wow, I played the shit out of Fallout.
It was on Xbox 360. Okay. I do remember that.
I don't know why.
Now I'm going to have to look it up.
I'm drawing a total blank. It's right here.
Yeah.
Okay. There's going to be so much editing to do tonight.
I know.
I don't have time for this shit.
Sorry.
It's okay. We're not going to air this one anyway. Just kidding. Those days are behind us. We air everything now, even if it's bad.
Yeah.
Especially
if
well,
it's bad.
We don't really have a choice.
Yeah, that's...
Guys, a lot of shit happened this week.
I didn't even talk about the last fucking game I was going to talk about.
We've been here for 45 minutes. What have you been doing? All right.
So actually, the game that I've spent the most time with this past, 2 weeks...
Yes.
Do
tell.
Is actually... So I finally got a smartphone, and...
I can tell because you text me more.
I do. I text everyone more.
It's way easier to text now with a smartphone.
It is. I downloaded this, free-to-play Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
On my cell phone, and it's really good. No joke. It is a really good game.
And it's an official Final Fantasy title.
It is an official Square produced. It's called Final Fantasy Record Keeper, and basically, it's the Final Fantasy game that I have wished for the last decade. I wish they would make something like this. You start as this guy, and you have to basically fix the Final Fantasy history. So you go into each game and you play through like the greatest hits of battles from those games, and you can field a team of characters from like all of the games, and all of the artwork is done in the sprite style of Final Fantasy VI. Okay. And it's actually good. It's not these like shitty looking.
They go beyond 6 though.
Oh yeah, it goes all the way up through 13.
They should fix 15. Before it comes out, they need to fix that.
Yeah, you
had me at free.
Yeah. Well, see,
I'm still not convinced.
When I downloaded it, I was like, oh, I know how these free-to-play games work. Yeah. And so for the first, 4 or 5 hours, I'm just waiting for the next shoe to drop. Like, when am I going to get to a point where I have to spend money to advance? And the thing is, you don't really have to.
That's good.
Like, as far as I've gotten, like, it would definitely make certain things easier if I did. Mm-hmm. But the whole game is so breezy, and I know I was just bitching about grinding, and this game basically is just all grinding. That's all that it is. But it's so quick, and you get rewards like constantly that it doesn't bother me.
They're stepping up their game with these free play for smartphones. I downloaded a Dragon Ball Z game a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
and the action's great. The fighting, it's a versus game.
Gotcha.
Fighter versus fighter,
1-on-1,
and you pick where you want to move. You pick the power. You power up. And it's free, so it's
awesome.
Even better.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have maybe I'm just old and stuck in my ways. Well, that's true regardless.
Well, yeah,
but I just don't like playing things on my phone. Like I play like one game of Scramble a day, and I play one game of Trivia Crack a day. But it's just like these time things, something to pass the time. When I want to sit down and play a game, that's what I got my Vita for. That's what I got the home consoles for. I don't know. I just can't get over the hump.
Yeah, well, that's the great part about this is, in a way, the monetized aspect of it makes it better, because you have stamina, so you can only fight a certain amount of times before you run out of stamina, and then it just takes time for it to refill.
And that's real world time.
Or you can spend money to.
You're done for the day.
Yeah, exactly, and it's great. You do a dozen battles, and then you're done, and that's it. You just put it down for a while, and why you wouldn't want to keep going, because it would get tedious at that point.
Yeah.
But the idea of having one Final Fantasy game with characters from across the entire history, there's all sorts of different weapons, and it's a super robust system too. So your characters are all pulled from the different games. So you've got Cloud from 7, Kain from 4. You've got Waka from 10, and when you're playing through stages in their game, they get a huge bonus, and a huge combat bonus. But you also have equipment from each different game, and those pieces of equipment get different bonuses. They'll work better. If you put a piece of equipment from Final Fantasy IV on a Final Fantasy IV guy, he'll get a bigger bonus than if you put that on somebody else.
I'm surprised that's free. Even just
Oh yeah, I was really astounded with this game. And so you kind of have to weigh out, if I'm going into Final Fantasy VI, is it better to put Final Fantasy IV gear on Final Fantasy IV guys so they gain more abilities that way, or will they get more abilities if I put Final Fantasy VI gear on? It's really deep.
So as you start, are you playing as a Final Fantasy character initially, or is there a new character that's taking you through all these worlds?
He's a little avatar guy. He looks kind of like a sage from any of the past Final Fantasies. He has no personality. He can equip. He's the one guy that can equip any item and any spell.
Sounds like I would identify with him.
Yeah, he's just
this
faceless.
He's a weird wizard that lives in a cave.
Cipher.
This little guy speaks to me.
Yeah,
he's got zero personality.
He's got no personality and no skills. Why is this? I feel a bond here.
Right, it's gonna be my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, so sometimes when you clear missions, you'll unlock other characters. And there's generic characters too, like a white wizard and a black wizard and a knight. But then there's a lot of named characters too. And so far,
there's 40 different characters named Sid.
Yeah. Yeah. So far, every couple weeks too, they'll drop some kind of themed content too. Like a special dungeon where you get a bunch of unique items, or you can recruit new characters. And it's always cycling through stuff. So I've been really I don't know. I'm starting to feel like maybe I was missing out with cell phone games, or either I got on board at exactly the right moment.
Apparently, because I mean, obviously, there's a ton of good ones out there, but you definitely found the right one for you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, I'm very apprehensive about spending money on my phone versus a physical copy of something. You know.
Yeah. I
So
think we're all in the same boat there.
Yeah. I mean, depends on the game, I guess, but. You gotta have someone. If you pay for a cell phone game, you gotta have someone before you tell you it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna. I $4.99. Nope.
Right.
$2.99. Nope.
Right.
You know.
Right. I'll spend $2.99 on a coffee, and like that's gonna be gone in like 2 minutes. But a game that I'll have for the rest of my life, or for at least the rest of my cell phone's life, I don't know. I'm pretty apprehensive as well.
Well, it's because when you get that coffee, you're drinking that coffee. You are obtaining a physical substance. When you're paying for data, it's much more ephemeral. Like even if you're drinking the coffee and then it's essentially gone.
Yeah. Still got the caffeine flowing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that was my thing. I'm really kind of impressed with this.
Yeah. You know what I'm impressed with? Myself. Because I kick ass at. You'll never believe this. Fucking Bloodborne.
Really?
I'm really good at this game.
What happened?
I got good.
What happened?
It was no, I don't.
Yeah,
you haven't been keeping track. Like probably the first 20 hours I spent with Bloodborne, really bad. Like I was horrible. I was just like I'd have to sneak around every single corner like really quietly and really slowly because I was just getting my ass kicked in like left and right. And now the last boss I ran into. Killed it on the first try.
Wow.
Like this is not like a typical Bloodborne thing to do. I've just been grinding like crazy, and every blood. Fuck. I've been playing this game nonstop, and I forget all the terminology just now. Blood Echoes is the XP system. Every time I get enough Blood Echoes, I run back to the start of the game and use them to level up. And I just feel like I've been playing smarter instead of just being... Although at one point I had been playing for like 2.5 hours, and I was like, I'm just going to kill one more guy.
Oh, that's
the guy who killed me. So I lost 2.5 hours of progress. But it's so nice when you just like when you're like, oh, what's over here, and you find like this hidden item that you're like, I didn't even know that was there. Yeah. Like I feel like I'm really good at this game now.
I like to imagine a 80s movie style training montage.
Yeah.
You like running through this game, rising up,
yeah,
back on the street, like you're getting like speared and thrown off a cliff and like just plummeting to your death. So over and over again.
The greatest thing I'm going to say about Bloodborne is that it's probably, and I love scary games. You know this about me. I love survival horror games.
Yep.
This is like the pinnacle of survival horror games. Like. That's not how it's marketed either, and it should be because it's amazing.
See, when I saw the previews, I would have never thought of it being a survival horror game.
No,
I would have thought
I've jumped so many times. Not even funny.
What was the PS3 game? Was huge. Prototype.
Prototype was big.
1 and 2.
There were 2 of them.
Yeah, that's what when I see like the cover of Bloodborne in the previews, that's what it reminds me of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I played a demo of Prototype, and yeah, they're wildly different.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't think I thought Prototype was even.
I never played it, but that's what the way they're marketing it, the way they show it.
Yeah,
that's what it kind of reminded me of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's probably it's turned into one of my favorite games of the last 2 years. Which doesn't say much because it's probably the only game I've spent any time with over the last 2 years.
I mean, I think with the new systems, they're really targeting the market about survival horror and like open world concepts like that. Like the Evil Within was great. Dying Light now turned into it's like a Dead Island meets Far Cry. It's like fast paced and crazy. Bloodborne sounds like another great title.
Yep.
You played that Alien
Isolation.
How was that?
Awful.
Okay.
Yeah. It was awesome for the first 3.5 hours, and I wish it was over. But there was 17 more hours to go. And
to me, it just sounds like a very redundant game.
Very redundant.
Okay.
Yeah, the people who support that game are out of their minds. They're like, oh, it's so good. It's like it's scary the whole time. Like eventually, it's not scary. It's just irritating.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, maybe I'm not going to get into it. I've talked ad nauseum about that game.
Sorry.
You should just
sorry for bringing it up.
Stand up after 3 hours and turn off the system. What a great game. Brian, I don't think that was done. I didn't see... What a great game.
I would have given it probably like an 8.5 out of 10 if it was only 3.5 hours long. Being 20 hours long, it's like easily a 5.
Yeesh.
See, funny you brought up Evil Within though, because it did get some DLC this week.
It did.
This game has like got some legs on it,
and so I like to see games drop price.
Yeah,
I don't. I like when they go up.
But I like. Well, it depends on the game, you know. Yeah. So the first game
if I own
bought,
I don't mind if it goes up.
The first game that I bought from my Xbox One was the Evil Within, and it was the shiny special. You know, you can still buy that for $60. You can still find it for $60.
Really?
If you go to like GameStop or Target, if it's still sealed, yeah. And I don't know. I like when certain games like lower the price. That one I think should have dropped already.
Yeah, I thought it had already. I haven't been keeping
the regular case one dropped. It's like $30 now.
Oh,
but that one I don't know why.
Maybe that shiny cover is real expensive to make.
I hope so.
I had a problem with Evil Within because I thought the borders on the top and the bottom made it really cumbersome to look around and try to be able to, like, if you're hiding behind like a cabinet or something and you're in a room as an enemy, like you want to be able to see over the cabinet to see where the guy is, and those big black borders make it almost impossible. It felt very cramped the whole time, and I think that they were going for like that kind of claustrophobic vibe, but it didn't work for me. It just made me irritated. So I didn't love that game as much as I should have. I thought that was going to be the new Resident Evil.
There'll never be a new Resident Evil. Take that back. Yeah. But I did like a lot of the Evil Within reminded me of older games, like a lot of the remind me of Manhunt. Games like that where you can sneak up on people and
Yeah.
I thought it was a fairly well put together game to get released. It definitely, I don't think it had enough hype. I do think it was one of the best games that I played.
Did you play
new games?
Did you play any of the DLC?
Not yet.
Yeah, neither have I. I'm not sure if I'm going to get into it or not.
What's the thing? They a lot of the DLC for all these really huge games tend to ruin the game, and some of my favorite games got ruined by DLC. BioShock was like BioShock 2 was horrible as a game.
Yeah.
And the DLC made it even worse because they added maps to the online play, which was horrible to begin with because you have no business putting a Call of Duty multiplayer shooting game in a BioShock.
Right.
No one that likes BioShock is gonna play it just to play multiplayer.
This is true. It's true. I mean, yeah, that was not targeted toward me at all. Actually, the whole second game wasn't targeted toward me.
Yeah, that was the worst 5 hours of my life.
All right, guys, let's get into what happened this week. Very important this week. Somebody finished Bloodborne with a Rock Band guitar controller.
Wow.
Okay.
Pretty impressive. I don't know how that would work. Like, there's no analog sticks on a Rock Band guitar controller. There are, 4 buttons and an up and down on the flicky switch. I'm really confused how this happened.
So this is one of those things. As I've gotten older, and we've talked about this a little bit, one of the biggest barriers for me starting new video games nowadays is the realization of just how much effort it takes to learn a particular skill set for a game to get good at it, and then you're going to use that skill set once. Once. It's not like learning a musical instrument or learning a new language or something. You develop this whole skill set, which admittedly is much simpler than learning an instrument or a language or something, but you're spending all this time and energy developing abilities that you will use like once.
Yeah.
Then I hear things like this, and it's like you're not even using that once. It's like, what?
He must be amazing at Rock Band proper.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if he's this good at Bloodborne with it, he must be amazing at Rock Band.
Which again, like, where's that going to get you? That and the $2 you mentioned earlier will get you a cup of coffee. Jesus.
Wow. All right, we don't need to spend any time on that. Guys, are either of you Star Wars fans? I think you both are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Star Wars Battlefront.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah. Are you not?
I've never seen them. I've never got introduced to them.
You're worse off than I am. Because I've at least seen like maybe 2 of the original trilogy.
No,
I'm going to go home and watch them tonight.
One of my buddies really did. He explained them like all to me, but I've never watched any episodes. No.
That would be an amazing opportunity, explaining Star Wars to somebody who's never seen it,
I-
but just make it all like weird and stuff. Yeah, this is exactly what happened in Star Wars.
What you should do when you do that is you should include all of the fan fiction, right? Just throw it all in there as if it's like canonical.
And Han Solo just starts wailing on C-3PO for some reason. I don't know. It was all kinds of fucked up.
I mean, I know the the Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. You know,
What?
Wait a minute.
No,
Now I don't need to watch it at all.
Yeah.
I don't know.
you know, stuff like that. But I've never even seen like a little piece of one.
Wow.
I've never.
That's insane.
So I can't say that I hate it
Sure.
or I don't. I don't know. I've never.
All right. Well, we might be able to blast through this pretty quick then. The news from the Star Wars news of the week was that that Battlefront does not have space battles. Takes place in the prequel era. And Star Wars Battlefront also does not have a single player campaign. I don't understand.
Is it like a Titanfall kind of thing where everything's online?
Very much a Titanfall kind of thing.
Okay.
Yep. I feel like they might be shooting themselves in the foot here a little bit.
I don't understand. Like, there was a game called Star Wars Battlefront that came out.
This is the third one. This is the third one,
but they're not calling it 3.
No, they're not. Because 3 would imply that it's better than the first 2. So they can't do that. Because the first 2 did have space battles. They did have single-player campaigns. And hell, they did it on the fucking PSP.
Yeah.
So I think on the PS4, the Xbox One, they just don't want to spend the time on it. That's all this is. They're trying to rush this out the door.
I mean, there was some janky stuff in those first 2 games, but I think it was more... I played the first one all the way through, and I spent a little bit of time with the second one, and I think that the issues with those games were more like ambitious failures than failures of ambition. They had so much going on that there was some overwhelming stuff, but there were some fucking crazy ass moments in those games. Like, you could fly a ship, be shooting down other ships, land on like an enemy cruiser, get out and start running around and like fighting in their ship. There
sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, there were moments in that game. I saw an entire sail barge get eaten by the Sarlacc pit, that big mouth. Like, there were like 24 stormtroopers on this thing, and it just got too close to the pit, and just in it went. Right. all hands on board.
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be amazing moments like that in this game, but I mean,
are you?
Well, I mean, when it's focused, I don't know. The response to the most recent demo that they did was pretty positive. I guess, major characters came into play very quickly. Like, Darth Vader was there, in the first, couple minutes. So, I don't know. I guess it brought up the inner geek real quick.
Yeah. Speaking of that, the other big thing, they released the second trailer this week for the new movies.
Yeah.
And I know I had said before that I feel kind of done with Star Wars. I'll admit, though, that second... Because that first trailer was really shitty. This one, though, looked kind of dope. I gotta say, they ignited the spark a little bit again.
Square Enix announced that they have more titles that they've not yet announced coming to the PlayStation 4 this year.
Wow. So, in other words, a game company is going to be making more games.
Yeah, but
I'm glad that they told us, because I would have never thought of that myself.
I think the important part of this news story is that Square is... I mean, they've taken about, 8-9 years to come out to bring Final Fantasy 15 out. But Kingdom Hearts 3 has been around the same amount of time.
Yeah, I played that when I got hired at my first post-college job, so that was almost 10 years ago.
I mean, so they take a long time to bring games out. So, and they're saying that they haven't announced games that are coming out this year. So it just seems sort of paradoxical.
Right, but...
Yeah.
Wait.
What? What?
But that's the key word. They're announcing titles.
Coming this year.
Right, but they can announce the title this year and not release until 2025.
But that's the news story. The news story is that they are coming out this year.
They're tricking you.
Yeah. So
Fox, I'll kill him.
As an addendum to this news story, we should also point out that Square Enix is having their own E3 press conference.
Ooh.
Traditionally, it only been Microsoft, Sony, EA, Ubisoft. This year, Bethesda's doing their own, which everyone's
waiting for that.
Fallout 3 or the
4.
Oh no, I want to play 3 again. 3 was so good. Let's not fuck with it, right? Let's just leave it alone.
It's the
Fallout
HD
4,
release.
the new Elder Scrolls probably. I mean, if they're going to have their own hour-long press conference, there's going to be some bombshells.
They should pull a Leisure Suit Larry and just do Fallout 5, and the whole game is like, whoa, what happened in Fallout 4? It was so crazy. I can't believe you guys missed it. So good.
So following suit, Square Enix has to have a bunch of announcements, because what are they going to do? Like, here's another demo for Final Fantasy 15. Here's the new Deus Ex game. It's like, yeah, we know those are coming. They've got to have some fucking bombshells coming during this press conference.
They announced that they're going out of business, and they just lock the doors and burn the auditorium down.
I think to stay relevant with the industry, they need to have some big news coming.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tangentially related, I meant to bring this up, but that free-to-play game that I was talking about was made by... it was published by Square Enix, but it was made by that DNA, which is the company that Nintendo is partnering with. So when I saw that, I was like, I'm a little more optimistic about this stuff now.
Nice. Wow, now I'm curious to check it out, just to see what kind of like the future holds for Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, these are people that definitely get Final Fantasy.
Nice.
Or I should say they get the good parts of Final Fantasy.
A new trademark on a redesign for the PlayStation Vita has been registered in Japan. There's been a little bit of speculation on this. It looks very, very similar to the current Vita model with an HDMI input, which, in my book, I would absolutely buy a second Vita just to be able to sit on my couch or lay in my bed and have an HDMI cable connected to my TV so I can play those games on a big screen. I don't know what the draw is there, but I don't really love playing my Vita on the small screen. I want to play that on a TV. All those games would have been played and beaten already. Danganronpa especially, if I could just play them on my fucking TV.
I don't know. Danganronpa, like, I don't know if I want to just sit there and read line after line. Like, at least I can move around when it's on the Vita.
Where are you going?
I don't know, man. I got a big house.
I think I'm driving.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh, look at that asshole on their cell phone. It's like careen wildly through red lights.
I don't know. You don't do much portable gaming, do you?
I did a lot of DS.
Yeah. DS had a great library.
I never had a PSP.
There was a great library of ROMs.
I played a PSP a couple times. I was never really big into the handheld device. Unless it was, either Pokemon or some cool RPG game that I found.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm still even weirded out. I don't like the direction Nintendo went in with the Wii U and stuff like that.
I don't think most people like that.
I'm weirded out by that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I went on a business trip a few months ago and I took my Game Boy SP with me.
See, the SP is all we needed. It never needed to advance past that.
But one thing that I think I have to pick up, just because it's me, they now have portable Super Nintendos.
Oh, yeah.
Which, why not?
Well, I was going to say, isn't that sort of what the Game Boy Advance SP was? But not quite.
Yeah. I mean, if I want to, certain games that I have that I like to play on the go, I see myself buying it and never using it.
Yeah.
That's kind of my outlook on it, but, I don't know. I saw it and...
It's sort of how I am with everything.
I know, I was going to say, that's like Brian's. He's like, I'm going to buy this and never play it. Yep.
Yeah. That's why everything's in the cellophane still. Yeah. So, I don't know. So this news doesn't really do anything for either of you, does it?
No, not really.
Nothing.
I mean, I do like... I like the concept of being able to play portable games on the TV too, because when you're at home that can be nice, but it's probably not going to sell me a second Vita.
Yeah, I did I did read yesterday or the day before. They were talking about how the Super Nintendo wasn't strong enough to hold a Game Boy Color game on its own. So the actual Game Boy cartridge that you can put in your Super Nintendo for Game Boy games, inside is just built with Game Boy parts.
Huh.
I just thought that was interesting. I thought it was just a cartridge, but if you open it up, it's just Game Boy parts in it.
That's awesome.
Because the Super Nintendo wasn't strong enough to run it.
Right. Wow.
Did you guys see the kid that believes he's a Super Saiyan?
Oh, we were totally editing them back in right here.
Yeah.
So wait, what happened?
I used to work at the public library. I've seen lots of kids that think they're Super Saiyans.
There's this kid on YouTube, at one of those like viral videos.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law showed me. This kid thinks he's a Super Saiyan, and he's talking. And
This can only end bad.
At first I thought it was a joke,
Yeah.
but now by the end of the video,
on fire.
I believe him. I'm like, oh my god, I think you're a Super Saiyan.
You believe it?
I'm like, oh my! But he's talking to the camera, and he's like, I strongly believe that I was put on this earth for this. And then he starts to power up, And the best part is that right before he starts to power up, he puts on the music from Dragon Ball Z, from when Goku goes Super Saiyan the first time. Just at the Japanese montage music.
That's phenomenal.
And he's just in the camera. It's just like, just little, can we say black on this podcast?
You can say whatever the fuck you
Okay,
want.
it's got this little black kid. And someone took that video and actually edited it.
Of course they
And
did.
gave him the eyes and the hair.
Of course.
But
of course.
it's definitely a good waste of 4 minutes if you have 4 minutes to
Always.
waste on your life.
I always
I would
have that.
just, kid go Super Saiyan, and I still haven't regretted it.
It's great when you can see the moment in somebody's life that they're going to regret so badly.
Thank
later.
you, Internet.
Yeah.
But me,
he sets himself on fire, like the energy.
My,
his parents are just like, it's for the best.
my favorite anime is Dragon Ball Z. I love it. So when someone took it that far, I'm like, I know as a kid you might have thought like it's cool, because he opens the video and he's like, I always looked up to Goku and Vegeta and Gohan, and I'm like, oh, I think he's being serious. And then when he starts to power up, and then by the end, obviously nothing happens, but he looks at the camera with like the Undertaker eyes behind his back, and he's like, I'm now a Super Saiyan. And the video just goes black. And I'm like, you're home alone, because my mother would have beat the shit out of me for doing that. What are you doing? I'm going Super Saiyan, Mom. Cut it out.
Don't open the door. It's just a euphemism for masturbating.
I wish someone would have like opened the door in his house, and I want to see if he like stopped.
Right.
That would have been like...
No, they're like, he does this all the time.
Yeah, they're like, no, he's a Super Saiyan. Yeah. We leave him alone.
Now,
his dad's actually behind the camera. He's like, we're going to make you famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he takes his shirt off and everything.
I want
like,
some of this.
How old is this kid?
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Probably 11, 12.
Okay.
So like, just old enough to know better.
Just old enough to... That's what he's going to be the rest of his life.
Oh my god.
He's
Super
going to
Saiyan
try
kid.
and become a Super Saiyan until he becomes homeless.
Yeah.
He's gonna try to become a Super Saiyan until he discovers girls. Then he's gonna be spending the entirety of his life trying to erase this from the internet.
He's going to be that kid that's going to buy fake sensu beans online for like $1,000. He's going to be that kid.
Oh my god.
Oh man, that's the best thing ever. Can't wait.
Well, that's all I have.
So, I hope you guys get to play PT, the playable teaser that Konami put out. Was it last year, maybe?
We've talked about.
The Silent Hills demo, basically, because it's coming down from the PlayStation Store at the end of this month. It's kind of further evidence that Hideo Kojima's departure from Konami is being felt. The ripple effect is happening. So maybe Silent Hills isn't happening anymore. Maybe they're just regrouping.
Is it
internally.
Hills with a Z?
No, it's with an S. It's with an S. But it's also with that jackass from The Walking Dead who I can't stand. So I wish it wasn't happening. But it might not be happening. Who knows?
So there you go. You got your wish.
But yeah,
It's just like Jiminy Cricket said.
But PT was probably like, I mean, I had a blast during like the 3 or 4 hours I spent with that, and to not actually see a game come out of it would be disappointing. I was really looking forward to see,
especially
what
with such a title, know.
Right.
I mean, Silent Hill was that game that you only play with your friends when you had like.
Oh, I don't have.
Because I didn't. Yeah. Well,
I just play it. In the
I know
dark.
you never had friends, but try to live through my life for a second.
Vicariously,
I never played that game alone. It was that game, PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
Silent Hill came out and we played it, and we every 2 minutes we give each other the controller, and then that evolved. The last one I played was Downpour.
Oh, that wasn't so good.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think if you keep in consideration all the older titles, that might drive people to buy the next one just to see if it's better. Because I do that a lot, Even though I hated BioShock 2, I bought the third one hoping it was better, stuff like that.
But when you're aware of the pedigree, when you're aware that BioShock 2 wasn't made by, who was it, Irrational?
Irrational, yeah.
When you're aware
they're
of
still out of business, so I'm still upset about that.
Yeah. Well, Ken Levine likes to talk to the media a lot.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that he's going to get the rights to BioShock back, and I have a feeling something will happen with that in the future.
I mean, I'm definitely, every time, a Silent Hill or a Final Fantasy, anything related to any time that comes out, I get excited about it, Whether it's going to be great or whether it's going to suck, It's one of those titles that,
I thought I turned my phone off.
Get your
There's another edit there.
Somebody's got a phone.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, well, I do that. I do the same thing with Resident Evil games. Like, I know I'm going to hate any of the numbered games in the series, but I play them anyway.
See, and that's the funny thing of Resident Evil. Resident Evil, the director's cut was great.
Yep.
The Resident Evil 2 for N64 was great.
That definitely just sounded like a murder out there.
I hope so.
You have children in the bathroom we don't know about?
Nope, we have children in the hallway that hopefully are getting murdered.
And, and then 4 was okay. Then they had a couple titles for the Wii. Resident Evil 5, that's where I drew the line.
Oof, that was rough.
Resident Evil 5, I thought the gameplay was okay. Long enough game. I did some of it online with a buddy, which I thought was cool. You can do like the same missions together.
Yeah. I followed somebody around for like 3 hours and let them do all the hard work.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And then Raccoon City came out.
Oh, was this Operation Raccoon City?
Operation Raccoon City, yeah.
I never touched that.
And you can run and shoot. And when I saw that, I'm like, that's not Resident Evil. And I put it down.
Okay.
You should not be able to run and shoot. For the past 17 games that you've released, that's one thing that you can't do. And now you turned it into a fast-paced game.
They also turned it into like a multiplayer-centric game.
And then I didn't touch 6. Resident Evil 6, I didn't touch.
Yeah, 6 was good for like an hour, and then it was really bad.
When they released the first one, the remake of a remake, I still haven't downloaded it, but I know I'm gonna just to see the difference in the graphics.
So the funny thing happened for me when I downloaded that game, because I was super stoked. I was like, this is one of my favorite games. Mm-hmm. No longer, really. It ruined the nostalgia factor for me. I mean, it looks nice enough and it plays well enough, but I got to a point in that game very early on where I had filled up my inventory. I found like a key or something that I needed to pick up, but I couldn't because I'd filled up my inventory, and I couldn't pick it up. I also hadn't reached the point in the game where I'd found an item box yet to put stuff down, to store things. So I basically fucked up my game. I have to start over from the beginning because it's basically like you can't carry any more items, and it screws up the game.
So you ruined the game because you were too good at it.
No,
that actually,
I wasn't planning ahead for all the things I was carrying.
I recently played Director's Cut on my PlayStation 1, and kind of similar story. I ran out of ink ribbons, and I can't find any more. And I keep dying in the same part from that save that I was until the next part I have to get to. I can't try different things because I don't have a way to save it anyways.
What an antiquated notion now.
Yeah.
Like you pick up items that are consumable that allow you to save your game. How odd is that? Like in this day and age.
Yeah, I do like certain games like Fallout where you have a weight limit, stuff like that. You know,
I don't mind it.
That kind of stuff is cool. You know, but then you have games like I forget the title, but
there it is.
Yeah.
Bam.
I'm not going to put any of these
Borderlands,
weird.
Where you have to, upgrade everything you have, and if you find a better shield, you drop that one, pick that one up. You know, it's way too much and way too fast for me to actually enjoy it. You have to worry more about what you carry and what you upgrade in the actual gameplay. Then you get stuck, and then you have to start the game over, like you said.
Oh man, what was the last thing the inventory management in Diablo 3? I felt like I spent more time in the menus of that game than I did like on the battlefields, like or the whatever you call them, the dungeons, battlefields, Star Wars. No. And it gets to be a point where you're just like, well, which one's stronger? Which one should I use? This one has fire defense. And you're like, oh god, why am I reading for half of this game?
Yeah, and that is the one thing that I can honestly say I'm not enjoying about Dying Light. It's the fact that you learn how to craft new things and you pick up different stuff to craft new things, Yep. And it gets to a point where I was like, just give me lockpicks and medkits.
Right.
I'll just pick up pipes wherever I see them and hit people with them. But
just like work.
Exactly. But yeah.
Okay.
No, I feel you on those type of games where you just... I think we all have a game that we're stuck on then.
God,
I'm not going back to it. That's a waste of $20. I don't think I'm ever going back to the Resident Evil remake. Which is a shame. Real shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just play the light gun games again. That's the best way to get the greatest hits of Resident Evil.
Right on. Yeah, good stuff. Oh, guys, I almost forgot my favorite news story of the week. It might not even be this week. I just found out about it, though. My favorite developer, Sly Dog Studios, the maker of The Mad Wizard, which is my favorite recently released NES game. Apparently, they are putting out the sequel to The Mad Wizard this year.
Mad Wizard 2 still mad?
It's called The Rise of Amundus. And it's got similar play mechanics. It was an awesome 3.5 hours with my old school Nintendo. So very exciting that awesome. It must have been popular enough for them to warrant a sequel.
Yeah, I mean the retro factor now is huge.
Yeah,
and I'm glad because now they're still releasing. I don't know if this year, but a couple of years ago they were still releasing Dreamcast games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's what's it called? NG Dev Team.
Yeah,
they usually do Neo Geo, but they'll port everything to the Dreamcast.
Yeah,
too.
And so I'm glad that they're releasing new stuff, but at the same time, it worries me that might make it too popular, where everything is just going to drop back down.
Drop back down.
Price wise, like certain games.
I think the problem is actually quite the opposite.
Yeah.
These are bring the renewing interest in the old consoles, and so people are going to go out get these new retro games, pick up an old console, and then start picking up all the old titles for it. And so stupid things that shouldn't be worth anything are suddenly like $50 games again.
Yeah, I mean, I picked up the most expensive game I picked up lately was, I've never heard of it. It's for the GameCube. I saw a preview.
Yeah.
Yep.
Brian's already eBaying it.
Right in my head. I've already got.
He's the high bid on the auction.
It's called. It's a Pokemon game. Darkness of something.
XD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a 3D Pokemon game.
Yeah.
I bought it. I haven't opened it.
Yeah.
But I bought it just, and it was like $40.
Oh, wow.
Online it was a little more. But there's a bunch of places that are popping around. And there's a store in Clinton now. A retro game store in Clinton. And that's where I found it.
Nice.
Yeah. I think I got an email from them or something. I should go check that out.
Yeah. The funny story about that store, the day that we went to that store was like the week after he opened, and he was waiting for shelves to display everything on the wall.
Yeah.
So Aaron and I were there. It's a buddy of mine. And he opened the boxes and he freaked out. He flipped out because he ordered 12 in each box. And that's what the box said. And that's what the receipt said. And there was one in each box. Not 24, So we're there like trying
difference.
to shop, and he called and, he freaked out when he looked at me and my buddy and he's like, does it look like there's 24 here? And I'm like, no, it does not, sir.
Yeah.
But I'll see you later.
Yeah. Please do not harm me.
I don't want to die today. Not in a retro guy killed in retro game store.
Oh, God.
I don't want to go that way.
Yeah, I know, because that's what's going to define you.
Yeah.
It's going to be, some huge nerd gets murdered at games.
Remember that guy that got killed in a retro game store? The guy didn't get enough
so
shelves?
much.
Yeah.
That was all there was to him.
So, guys, have you seen the Mad Max trailer?
No.
Yeah, maybe. I don't...
It's a new trailer for the Mad Max video game.
Video game.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about now.
Yeah. It's actually not, strangely enough, not based on the movie, which is also, the reboot is coming soon, too. I think in the Sony E3 press conference, I think the same year that they debuted the PS4, I think, they also debuted the trailer for Mad Max. And it looked boring. It looked really, really simple. But then I believe it's Avalanche Studios.
It's just Frogger, and they just wrote Mad Max on it. Look out for the cars, Max.
But it is Avalanche Studios, so at least it's a reputable studio working on it. But so they went dark for 2 years, and they just came back now and with a new look at it, and it looks pretty awesome.
Is that the rally fight game?
I mean, there's a lot of aspects to it. There's definitely like on foot parts. There's car combat parts. There's
Is it like a desert?
Desert,
okay,
yeah.
I saw the preview for that. Yes,
barren wasteland.
because I remember I was like, oh, that looks like the Mojave from Fallout. That's all I remember.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I don't know if that's pronounced, but that's how I pronounce it. So.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's correct.
Good.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Good old Mojave Desert.
Yeah.
No, I saw. Yeah, it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, the car customization looks pretty in depth. It looks like you're able to like literally like customize every aspect of your vehicle. The on foot part looks pretty good. I mean, we'll see. It's interesting that they're doing this whole reboot of Mad Max and they're not tying these two things in together, the movie and the game. But as we've seen, it's probably better off this way. So, I don't know, guys. I think we're coming to a close.
I think so.
So please tell me you've got something else lined up for your week other than Final Fantasy.
I don't even fucking know, man. No. I'll probably, since I had a good time with the Shivah, I'll probably start working through all those like dozens of PC games that I've bought from Good Old Games or the different Humble Bundles. I've wanted to play Bastion for a while.
Oh yeah,
that's got a good reputation. That seems like my cup of tea.
That's actually, I think it just came to the PlayStation consoles for the first time last week. It took a while to get here.
I'm thinking about downloading Shovel Knight for my Vita. That seems like a good.
Yeah, I picked that up this week.
It's on, because it's on sale this week for a couple bucks off, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like 15 instead of 20.
Yeah.
Something like that. I played the first half hour. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. It didn't grab me right away like I thought it would, but it looks like all the different video game references.
Yeah.
Look pretty awesome. Yeah. I almost want to like look up a video ahead of time so I can like, because I don't know, I'm not very perceptive. So I'm hoping somebody online has sort of like made a montage of all of the Shovel Knight references to different video games, because then I can know what they're referencing.
I don't know. I don't know if there are people that obsess over video games on the internet.
I'm with Mike on that one. I don't know.
So, okay, PC games.
Yeah, probably.
What do you got in mind now that you have some free time again?
I feel like there's some anger behind that question. Now that you have free time.
Thanks for joining us.
I think I'm finally gonna pop in Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
For the Xbox One, and we'll see how that goes. Other than that, I'm on a hunt for a top loader NES this week.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because as much as I love my NES, after half an hour of me trying to put the game in, I don't feel like playing it anymore.
You can get one of those pin connectors for like $10, and you can make the swap. I would say like less than half an hour.
Yeah, the 70.
Yeah, 72 pin.
Mine has that. I bought it and it has it.
Interesting.
I mean, my consoles, the way they're set up, they're kind of in order to however they fit by size. And every time, like, my dog, like, walks by, you know, it's like arguing with your cousin because he steps too hard in front of the game and it just... What the hell, man? You know,
arguing with your cousin.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, in my life, my cousins ruined all my games.
Oh.
My cousins would, you know... And I remember yelling at the dog as if she was a person because I understood. I had an epiphany of why controllers are wireless now.
Oh, my God.
Right. But it didn't dawn on me until 10 years later when my dog cut her leg on the wire and took everything down with her.
Yep.
But yeah, that's how I broke 2 PlayStation 1s like that. You know, because they never like kind of like lopsided. They always just land flat, and it's just you can hear a break as soon as it hits the ground.
What's your take on buying like a Retron 5?
I have a Retro Duo.
Okay.
It was great up until half of it stopped working.
Which half?
The Super Nintendo half stopped working.
Yeah.
And before I found my NES, I had a Adventure Island 2 that I found, and I just wanted to play it, you know. And I had an NES. I had a Super Nintendo. I didn't have an NES. And when I went, they really didn't have any that weren't too messed up, you know, like a couple like rusted spots, and you know. So I'm like, well, I'll buy a Retro Duo. How bad can it be? And it turns out it was horrible. But I don't know if I trust, you know, the Genesis, Super Nintendo, NES, you know.
It's a lot.
And maybe if they did something like the PlayStation 4 that comes with the first skin now, they made it look like the first PlayStation.
Oh, yeah.
You know, maybe if they did something like that, where I know they probably have to have like rights involved or something, but you know, maybe if it was a little more appealing, I wouldn't mind throwing that on the shelf next to all my consoles. But
the big factor for me is that it's got an HDMI out, so I feel like for the first time in the last 10 years, my games will start looking, halfway decent again. You know, because they've all got that like blur to it instead of having like, the sharp pixelization, which you know, for retro gamers, we love that stuff.
For some games, you know, I love popping in. You guys familiar with the Neketsu Japanese series?
Oh yeah,
like, so I have a Neketsu Kunio-kun Soccer.
It's River City Ransom.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. And you know, they all have like their super cakes and stuff. You know, and you blow it up and it looks like crap. Mm-hmm. You know, it's very shitty and blocky, you know, but it's on a much bigger scale, so I enjoy every second of it as if I still had a tube TV.
Yeah.
But, no, the HDMI it's awesome.
I've read some reviews on Amazon. This is why I bring it up, because I'm hoping to find somebody in person that's actually had some experience with it. And they all kind of have the same thing. Like the cartridges all fit like a little bit too tight. And then like the connection, like something about you have to be so super careful when you put the cartridges in and out that I feel like they need to do some hardware refinements before I finally pick one up. Yeah. They're not cheap. They're like $150.
Yeah.
So,
and at least for my Retro Duo, putting in the NES cartridge and taking it out was the worst feeling. Because you can like hear it like grind out.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's actually affecting the cartridge itself.
Yeah, and I think that's mainly why I'm glad that the Super Nintendo half broke before it broke one of my games.
Yeah.
But I think that's it, you know, that tightness, you know, and there's like titles that if you buy a Retro Duo, it says, you know, will not play Paperboy. You know, there's like some really old titles that these new systems won't recognize and won't play.
Gotcha.
Like Castlevania 3 is a big one.
Yeah. And
it has a special chip in it? Or?
Yeah, something like that.
The one good thing is that at least the Retro Duo is compatible with NES controllers, Super Nintendo controllers.
Yeah, being able to plug those in is definitely a bonus.
The ones that come with it,
garbage.
They're garbage.
Yeah,
they're garbage.
Yeah. All right. So wait, what are you playing this week?
I'm going to be playing Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein. I am going to be playing something. Yeah.
How's that?
No, it's fucking. I'm going to be playing Bloodborne. That's all I play anymore.
Nice.
It's got me enraptured. I'm definitely gonna spend some time with Shovel Knight on my Vita and on my PS4. It's cross-buy, which is always nice. Cross save too, which is nice.
Oh, really?
Oh, you gotta love that stuff.
That is nice.
Yeah,
that's really nice.
You know, so when I really need to pause the game and run to the bathroom, I can keep playing. Don't touch my Vita; it's disgusting.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us this week for Gaming Without Parole. I'm Brian Paul.
I'm Mike Zeller.
I'm Jordan Acosta.
We'll see you next week.